Greetings and welcome, people. At last, out on the bike again. It's been a long, very nearly couple of months, I think. But here we are. Right, it's not just a run out because we can. I'm actually taking the bike out to conduct a road test of the Blue Sky C dual dash camera system. And I thought I'd do a little roundup of my thinking and reasoning behind putting something like that on the bike. Now you might say, well, why do you need a dash cam system when you've got a helmet camera fitted that's catching everything in front of you? And this is very true. And if I only ever went out on rides like this one today, which is just a short ride, just to get back on two wheels and enjoy myself a little bit and relax, then the helmet camera would probably suffice. But I'm afflicted with a terrible memory, always have had. And also this helmet camera doesn't give any audio feedback on whether it's on, whether it's recording, whatever. And sometimes I'll get home from a ride thinking I've made some video for a vlog and find I haven't recorded anything except audio. It doesn't happen often, but it happens often enough to be annoying. Also, the helmet camera, certainly in the way it's set up at the moment, it is limited only to the battery charge that is contained within it. Yes, I can connect it to an external battery pack, and on longer runs I would certainly connect it to an external battery pack. And the same with the camera on the handlebar there looking back at me. That is also limited to the life of the battery that's inside the pack, unless I plug it into an external source, such as one of the two USB ports that are on the front of the bike there. So what I wanted was something that I could have fitted on the bike. Over the speed bump, mini roundabout. It acts as a speed bump. Something fitted on the bike that will start recording when I switch ignition on, and will loop record as dash cams do, and will cover the forward view and the reverse view, the rearward view, with enough memory to last pretty much a whole day of riding without me having to worry about it. I just want it to be there. I want it to be recording. Obviously I'll need to check it every now and again to make sure that it actually is recording. And I've heard on quite a few occasions bikers who've been involved in incidents gone to check their camera footage only to find that it hadn't recorded anything for whatever reason. So yes, whatever system you've got, whether it's an expensive system or a budget system like this one, make sure, check periodically that it is actually recording. So yes, I wanted it to be there without me having to worry about it. I don't have to take anything off the bike, I don't have to change batteries, it just works. And as I say, I wanted the front and rear cameras at 1080p. I wanted a decent amount of memory capacity. Some of the lower priced camera systems, yes, they may have two 1080p cameras, but they'll only take 32GB SD cards, which will only last you a couple of hours. Not a bloody pedestrian crossing, you know. As a rule of thumb, I found that a 1080p camera, 1080p 30, will record approximately 5 hours of video on a 32GB capacity card. So when you've got two 1080p 30 cameras, you need 64GB to still keep that 5 hours, and you'll get up to 10 hours recording on 128 gig. That's what I've got in this unit at the moment, so I could record a whole day's riding, and even if something happens that I don't press the lock button on the remote here on the handlebar, there's a very good chance that the footage will still be on there. Obviously I'll have to go looking for it through excuse me, up to 10 hours of footage, but there we go. I'm going to head towards the petrol station now, because as you can see my low fuel warning light is on. Shouldn't be that bad, because I can get something like 70-80 miles further when the light comes on, but I don't like to push it. The other thing I wanted from the dual dashcam system was a discrete installation. I didn't want big cameras stuck on the front like I used to have with the camera set on the mirror over there. I didn't like that at all. I want something that's out of sight, streamlined, low profile, stealthy. Oh, stealthy. Sorry. And this system gives me that. It's a the camera brackets are very low profile, streamlined. The unit itself is quite compact, sits in the space under the back seat, as you saw in my previous video. And I'm sure there was something else I was going to add to that. Yes, one thing I hoped I would be able to get would be GPS data recording as well, but that was, as I said before, a nice to have, not a must have. Basically, I want this system to record what there's petrol and diesel. I'm going to fill up the fuel and get back to you. Speak to you in a minute. Okay, that's better. Nice full tank of fuel. So one of the main aspects of the camera system that I selected, or when I was going through the selection process, was budget. I had to find something for less than £100. So basically that meant the INOV system, dual camera system, which I'm sure is very good, was out of my reach by quite some way. I think that's something like £250 to £300 for the dual system. and and I'm hoping that these two cameras, both being 1080p, will provide decent enough quality footage so we shall see. Hopefully we'll be able to include some example footage either during or at the end of this. That's only one, the latest of several modifications I've made to the bike and my bike equipment to improve my personal safety. I have a DRL LED light bar, a daytime running light bar at the front of the bike, so that I can run without having to have my headlight on all the time, because the alternator on this bike is quite low output, so having an LED light system is helpful in that regard. I've added an additional brake light at the rear. Obviously you don't have brake lights at the front, well, not round here anyway, so that there will be less likelihood of a driver or somebody behind me not realising that I'm braking. My crash helmet also has an red LED light on the back of it that should illuminate whenever I slow down, whether I'm braking or just closing the throttle. And of course, not only do I have my helmet camera, but I now have the dual dash camera system. But of course I'd like to make clear that I in no way think that this makes me completely invulnerable to any kind of incident on the road. All it does is improve my chances, I hope. I hope I'm more likely to be seen. I hope my actions such as braking are more likely to come to the attention of other road users. And in the event that something does happen, I hope that the camera will be able to prove or disprove any allegations being made about how the incident or whatever came about. But as I say, it does not in any way make me superhuman or less like, or it doesn't mean that it's totally impossible that I will be involved in an incident, because that is never guaranteed, ever. All these things are things that I have done to try and mitigate against as many potential incidents as possible. There's always a chance that there's going to be some idiot on the road who just is not paying attention, is looking at their phone, fiddling with their stereo in their car, driving along doing their paperwork or whatever. Anything but concentrating on what they're supposed to be doing, which is driving and watching the road ahead. Oh, the other thing I forgot was something I did many years ago, was I got rid of the rather weedy horns that were on this bike when it came out of the factory, and fitted them with some significantly louder two-tone horns. They're not air horns, but they are certainly quite a bit louder. I have actually seen car drivers jump in their seat because they hadn't realised I was right beside them when they were changing lanes. Not because I was speeding, but because I was just gradually going past them as they were going along a two-lane highway or dual carriageway, and they just decide they're going to move into the lane I'm in without even looking. So as I say, all we can do is make ourselves as conspicuous as possible, I would never rely on loud exhaust pipes to bring me to the attention of motorists. You're more likely to be seen from a greater distance than you are heard from a greater distance. So yeah, and if anything does happen in close quarters, I've got the horns to let them know. It's like that. I hope that car in front didn't think I was beeping at them to get a move on or anything, because I wasn't, obviously. So there's still the chance that I might need to do something with the mounting of the rear camera if it's still getting affected by engine vibration. Then I'll have to do something about rubber mounting it. Oh, excuse me. Lambretta, yes. All out today. Let's go up this way. Whoop. A little bit wide there. Oh well. Definitely a tad rusty, so I just need to be careful. So as I've said previously on another video, which I think I'll try and link to up here in the corner or up there in the corner somewhere, or maybe just down in the description, I think it's important to get a camera or dual cameras fitted to your vehicle, whatever it is you ride or drive. It can help protect you in the event of something happening. Maybe not necessarily protect you from injury, but it can protect you from accusations of wrongdoing. So let's face it, the first thing that happens when there's an incident involving a motorcycle, whatever the other vehicle, most people will automatically assume the motorcyclist was doing something they shouldn't have, speeding, riding dangerously, whatever. So there'll always be that, even if it's unspoken assumption that the motorcyclist was in some way at fault, if not entirely at fault. So even if you're riding along, as I am now, at the speed limit, and somebody just comes straight out one of these side roads without even looking, as sometimes they do, and a collision occurs, if there are no other witnesses, then it's basically between me and the other driver. If the other driver says I looked and they weren't there when I came out, so they must have been going really fast, and if I can't prove otherwise, then there's always going to be at least that element of doubt in other people's minds, in my insurance company's minds, in the minds of the police. And if there's an injury involved other than me, then I could be the one being prosecuted for dangerous driving, etc. So having a camera on your bike does not necessarily mean you want to go into motor vlogging. You might just want it there just to give you some protection. So, and as even a very cheap system is only, in the UK you can pick something up for 30, 40, 50 pounds. Oops, no, I don't want to go there. Don't know what's down there, but it's very snug. Yeah, it's worth doing, especially if it's one that you can just almost fit and forget. as I say, don't actually forget it, because you do need to check it from time to time to make sure that it is recording and working properly, and periodically format the memory card just to make sure it's all okay. So yeah, even if you're running with a helmet camera, I think it's worth getting a system fitted on your machine. I have a dash camera and windscreen in my car, but that's only forward facing. I am going to be updating that as soon as possible with a dual system, front and rear cameras. But I have read somewhere a review of one camera system where somebody bought two of them and fitted one system facing front and rear and the other system facing left and right out the side windows of his vehicle. Obviously not on his bike, because that would be silly, but on his car or van or truck or whatever. But you can, I think there is a possibility of going a bit too far with these things. You can absolutely surround yourself with cameras, but if they don't record, if they don't do their job, then they're just wasted. So keep an eye on them. The only thing I'm considering at the moment is that the way I've got this dual camera system set up, it's on a ignition controlled power feed. Oop, let's see what the dashcam system makes of that level crossing. It's on ignition controlled, so when I turn the ignition off, the camera system goes off. Cleanly, of course, doesn't just cut off and corrupt the last file it was recorded. Well, it shouldn't, let's put it that way. What I'm thinking of doing is, and of course, I was about to say that it comes on as soon as I turn the ignition on, and of course when you're cranking the engine to start it, the voltage from the battery is all over the place, dropping and rising and all that sort of thing. So I think what I might do is I might fit it on a a time delay relay with something like a 30-second delay, so that it gives me time to crank the engine, get the engine running before the camera system starts up. It might be a little kinder on the circuitry. So that is something that I will look into. I've seen something on eBay that is literally just a few pounds that I think will do the job, and I might even do a little at the table video about that when I've got it and explained how it's going to work. I'm just wandering around, going whither and nither, where I will. So that's another job that's probably going to be done quite soon. There are a few others, but for the moment I'm just going to enjoy this spell of nice weather. We've got a few more days of this coming, so I think I'm going to get out on the bike more every day for the next few days if I can, and yeah, enjoy my machine. Oh dear, oh dear. It's a 30 limit, not 25. So unless something else comes to mind, I think I'm going to call that the end of this particular installation of the Mighty Bean Stick Moto Vlogs. And thank you all very much. Oh, no, there was something just came to mind. I said that the dashcam system is branded Blue Sky C, and in my last video that I put up, I did actually put the name and model of the camera system in the title, and the distributor, I think they're a distributor, I don't think they're a manufacturer, but if I'm wrong, please correct me, that made, you know, Blue Sky C themselves. They've got a YouTube channel as well, and they actually commented on my last video. And thanked me for sharing, and I pointed them to the video that I put up last year, which was the unboxing of the camera system. Yes, it's been almost a year since I got the system. Sometimes takes me a long time to get around to doing things, and so I replied and, as I say, pointed them to that other video, and they very kindly subscribed to my channel, so thank you very much, Blue Sky C. And just to make very clear that I am in no way sponsored by Blue Sky C. I bought the dashcam system myself last year with my own money, and of course every opinion and comment I make about it and its operation is my own and is not going to be adjusted in any way. It will be an honest write-up and review. So let's get this thing home and see what this video looks like. See, the quad bike boys are out as well. So yes, that brings my subscriber count to 53 now, so that's quite gratifying. And again, I do thank all of my subscribers very much for taking the time to subscribe and taking the trouble to watch some of my probably very boring videos. What do you mean, definitely very boring? Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much, Elvis. And yeah, so I hope they'll continue to be appreciative of honest feedback. If it's good, I'll say it's good. If it's bad, I'll say it's bad. If there's things I'd quite like to change, which I've already commented on, things like the excess amounts of cabling and things that basically have to be stashed away. It would also be very nice if the unit, the Wi-Fi on the DVR unit did 5 GHz as well, so it would be possible to transfer information off of the memory card quicker. Yes, I do know it's possible to remove the memory card, plug it into a computer and copy it off quickly that way, but point you to my last video where I showed you how I've got the DVR unit installed. Appreciate that it's not exactly easy to get at. So we'll see. I don't think obviously they'll be able to do any kind of firmware upgrade to give it 5 GHz Wi-Fi capability, because that's built into the Wi-Fi hardware. It's not a firmware option unless it's already in there. They just haven't enabled it, and they can do a firmware update to enable it, which would be brilliant if that is the case, but I doubt it. And also the other problem I found is that the app that you have to install on your phone or tablet does not allow you to specify saving to anything other than the device's internal memory. And obviously with a 128 gigabyte memory card, chances of copying everything over. Well, they're going to turn around and come after me for some bizarre reason. The chances of copying everything off in one go are very, very slim. So it would be nice if there was an option in the app, the Android app, to specify a save, a download location other than the default internal memory. So Blue Sky City, if you're in any way involved in the development of the Android app, or if you know of a better one, I can't remember what the app is called at the minute that they recommended at the time that I bought the camera. So if there is another app that works with these cameras that does allow you to specify a different location, then that would be very handy to know. So as I say, I think that's about it for now. Just having a run round. There's so many bikes, trikes and quads out today, and quads obviously don't nod to bikes, so well, never mind, don't care. Woohoo! Yes, out for sensible ride, David. Whee! So as I was about to say, thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. Unless anything else comes to mind, I'll speak to you again on the next one. Cheerio for now. Bye.